Hello everyone, today I will tell you about the film Recoil. Enjoy watching! A man decided to hunt rabbits using an automatic rifle. He never hit the big-eared one. The unsuccessful hunter ran away from his comrades, and suddenly the fingers of a healthy bald man closed on his throat. The hunter offered the attacker money, but then remembered who was standing in front of him and flew down the cliff. Ryan Varette is heading to the City of Hope, and judging by the reaction of the waitress, nothing good awaits him there. Seeing the scary man, the local mechanic immediately reached for a sawed-off shotgun, but the stranger only asked where he could stay. That hunter turned out to be a serial killer. However, Ryan managed to get to him before the FBI. The coroner told Agent Satan that some healthy guy strangled the maniac before he died. Now they'll have to look for him. Ryan drove around the city and checked into a motel. One asshole left the biker club and almost shot the dog, but Ryan gave him a beating and disarmed him. The bald guy gave the gun back. The biker immediately pulled the trigger and found out that there was no magazine left in the gun. He got hit in the face again and was left lying on the asphalt. A crowd of bikers led by the Salgado brothers came out of the club. Reg threw a cigarette butt at Ryan. They would deal with him later. In the meantime, they needed to unload the car with weapons. The motel manager Darcy became interested in this big guy. He was clearly either a cop or a bounty hunter. Drake Salgado beat up a punching bag, and then he entered a homemade octagon, which was under voltage. He was going to punish one member of the club who owed them $1,500. One round against Drake and the debt would be forgiven. He agreed and began to throw punches. However, the strong Drake seemed not to notice them. He did not even move from the spot, but he himself hit the debtor in the balls and broke his nose. Then he dislocated both of his opponent's arms and fried him on the fence. In Drake's opinion, the beaten pig had just paid his debt, so he ordered Rex to let him go. Drake ordered Jester to keep an eye on his brother. Rex arrived at the lab and found out that the visiting big guy had checked into Darcy's motel. The authority looked in on the girl to find out what room he was living in. Darcy tried to stop him, and the bandit hit her so hard that the manager fell under the table. Earlier, the scumbag had killed a girl who had refused him. Ryan found Rex himself and threw him into the wall. Ryan tied the Mexican to the hood of the car. Like the hunter, he finally figured out who was standing in front of him. Ryan gagged Rex so he wouldn't talk anymore. That jerk had already hurt a lot of girls. It was payback time. Ryan pressed the gas pedal. The car crashed into the wall and exploded. That same night, Drake learned that he no longer had a brother. After killing another man, Ryan went to confession. He remembered the time when he still had a family. Jester was supposed to look after Rex. He would have to answer for his mistake. Sheriff Cole arrived at the lair. He has no real power in the city. Therefore, he will not be able to do anything if a war starts here. Unlike his father, Hedge does not want to sell out to the bandits. But he is only a deputy sheriff and is forced to obey Cole. Darcy loaded her sawed-off shotgun, expecting new guests. Well, it was Ryan. Darcy condemns Ryan's actions. Drake runs the city, and he gets rid of his enemies in the most brutal way. Baldy only needed Rex, but apparently he will now have to deal with the entire gang. Darcy's husband was killed by bikers, so she doesn't mind if Ryan stays here. Hedge tries to find out the details of yesterday's incident. But in this town, everyone is used to keeping their mouths shut. Agent Satan linked Rex's murder with the hunter's death. They were both rapists. He worries that they may not have time to find the killer. It is unlikely that Drake Salgado will let him leave the city alive. About 3 dozen bikers hang around in Hope. Darcy is trying to pick up this thug as best she can. The girl invited him to dinner. Bikers came to Kirby's garage and politely invited him to ride with them. Drake sat the man on a chair in the center of the octagon. The authority wants the mechanic to spy on the newcomer and report everything to him. To make Kirby obey, he was forced to squeeze the blade of a knife in his hands. Hedge learned that Ryan used to be an exemplary policeman, worked in the department for combating organized crime. He apparently decided to do the same in this cozy town. The bikers loaded the goods into 3 trucks. One of them got a flat tire during the trip. It was Ryan who did it. He beat up the driver and ordered him to get out of here. Inside the transported bottles, the big guy found bags of white powder. Ryan blew up the car along with all the goods. Instead of a punching bag today, it was the guilty Jester. But Drake is still not happy because he learned about the destroyed truck. Kirby got into Ryan's car and found newspaper clippings about various criminals. The big guy caught him and went to his house. Kirby said that Drake got the whole town hooked on his crap. Now he's beating the locals for money. If there is an honest cop, the bikers kill him on the spot. Ryan understands that Kirby was forced to search his car, so he does not hold a grudge against him. Crab, Drake's right-hand man, drove up here. Crab is sure that he can take out Ryan alone, but he underestimated his opponent. Baldy smashed his face and knocked him to the ground a couple of times. Even a wrench did not help Crab. Having absorbed all the blows, the biker got offended and threatened Ryan that he would regret it. Drake learned from Cole that Ryan is a former cop. The sheriff himself does not need to do anything. The main thing is that neither new police officers nor feds appear in the city. Ryan drove up to the biker base and opened the trunk, which contained a serious arsenal of weapons. Hedge caught him, but instead of arresting him, he offered Baldy his help. He just asked him not to rush. He wants to invite reliable people here in case of trouble. Ryan told Darcy that his family was shot by a biker gang. Among them was Ray Salgado. He dealt with him, but he also liked the older brother. Kirby tries to fight Sleep to be ready for the meeting with guests, but the bandits still manage to catch the mechanic by surprise. Drake told Kirby that when he was put in jail the first time, he had a hard time in prison. After being released, he dealt with every prisoner who offended him, and then with the police officers who put him in jail and their families. Kirby himself was killed and hung from his tow truck. The sheriff, of course, is not going to investigate this murder. But the feds came to town. They are interested in the death of Rex Salgado. He did not receive the help he expected from the sheriff. Ryan came to a biker bar. Everyone in the place immediately pounced on him, but the big guy beat up the crowd and didn't even break a sweat. Crab pulled out a gun, but Ryan managed to hide behind one of the bandits, after which he disarmed Crab and threw him into the trunk of his car. Drake found out about the missing bandit. He went outside and saw Crab burning alive right outside his club. On that terrible day, during his son's birthday party, 4 guys in clown masks came to their yard. They shot all the guests, the boy with his mother and Ryan himself. But the man was lucky to survive. Since then, the main goal of his life has been to find and destroy all the killers. Ryan quit the police. He executes everyone he can get to on the spot. The FBI man learned from Hedge how things are in the city. It's time to restore order here. The bikers in their club are also preparing for war. Darcy hasn't let go of the guns in her hands in the last few days. That night, the bandits finally came. But Ryan was ready to cover her. When the uninvited guests entered the room, Darcy turned off the light. The big guy shot them all. However, another one with a rifle immediately flew in. Darcy missed him, but Baldy put several bullets into his carcass. Unfortunately, another group of bandits was waiting for the couple in the yard. Ryan was knocked out and the girl was dragged into the van. Hedge arrived at the crime scene with the federal. The sheriff, however, withdrew and did not even answer his son. Ryan woke up in Drake's lair, where Darcy was also. 3 bandits took her to another room. The biker Ryan beat up first in the city wanted to take revenge. It turned out that he was Drake's son. He took out a knife to cut the former cop in the face. But Ryan needed to be tied up much tighter. He freed himself and punished the criminal. Afterwards, a crowd of bikers with hammers, axes, and knives got in his way. Only one loser took a small wrench with him. In any case, they were all beaten and stabbed. Afterwards, Ryan found and freed Darcy. Hedge came home and found his father dead with a gun in his hand. Apparently, he did not want to live with shame anymore. Reinforcements arrived at the precinct so that they could confront Drake's army on equal terms. Ryan found a huge supply of goods. The authority came out to him and confessed that he was one of those who killed his relatives. Drake sent so many people to the next world that he did not even immediately remember Ryan. But since he killed his brother, it means they are even. However, Ryan was not satisfied with this arrangement. The enemies clashed. The authority fights with the bald man almost on equal terms. But you can't argue with such a mountain of muscles. Drake initially wanted to arm himself with a machete, but eventually opted for a sickle. He managed to cut Ryan a couple of times, but his youth got the better of him. The former cop disarmed the pensioner and taped his hand to his own. They began to take turns punching each other in the face. At some point, Ryan got tired of this game and punched his enemy 4 times in a row. Drake got lost and fell to the floor. Ryan was distracted by Darcy. At that moment, Drake almost hacked him to death. The bandit was shot by an agent who arrived in time. The cops could only arrest those whom Ryan spared. Everyone else was dead. The feds would like to arrest him, but this big guy is such a cool and fair guy. And since he only kills villains, he can walk free for now. This is where the film ends.